Hey everyone, it's Landon, and today I'm going to show you how to use Vim. Now what Vim is simply put, it's a text editor within Terminal, just like Nano or Emacs if you've heard of those, and it's one that I personally use, and everybody's allowed to use whichever text editor or text synthesizer they like, but today I'm going to show you my personal one, which is Vim. Now, the easiness of Vim, as an example, would be that you can use it over SSH and just edit text files right on the server without having to pull them locally, and use a text editor such as Sublime or let's say Atom or even IntelliJ if you're using an IDE. Now there are a couple different ways to install Vim, but I'm going to show you the one simple way on Linux, and then I'll tell you how to do it on OS X. So the way to do it on Linux is to use sudo, which is superuser-do apt-get, the install flag, and we want to just install Vim. Now it should ask you for your password, just enter that, and then it'll pull up all the dependencies, and you're going to just click Y and then it'll install. Now I already have Vim installed, so I don't have to, it already says that I have it. So the way to do it on OS X, very simple, almost the same exact way, is to use Homebrew. Now what Homebrew is it's same thing as apt, except it's just a package manager for OS X. All you're going to do is you're going to take this and put this in Terminal, click enter, and it will install Homebrew. So now, a little side note actually, OS X usually does come with Vim. I know my machine did, which was an early 2015 MacBook Pro. So I'm pretty sure everybody should have it, I believe, past 2008. If not, just use Homebrew. But now I'm going to show you how to invoke Vim, and the way to do that is just type Vim. That's it, and it'll show Vim, which is Vi improved. Now Vi was actually a text editor, the predecessor to this, back a couple years ago, and now that they've made improvements, they've called it Vim. So there's a couple things that we can actually do with Vim right off the bat. The first thing that we can do is we are in a mode called command mode. Now we can't edit text or anything if we type. See, we can't. But the way to actually edit text is actually to click I, which is insert mode. Ooh. Insert. And now we're in insert mode. That was weird, didn't show that. So now insert mode means that we can text. So this is the coolest editor ever. And that's it. Now to get out of insert mode, you just click escape and you're out. Now one of the things we can do is we can actually, as you can probably see on the side, usually every text editor has, you know, line numbers on the side. So a simple way to do this is to actually click shift colon and then do set number, and then it'll show the line numbers. So if we start typing, then it'll do that, show the line numbers on the left. Now another thing we can do is we can add on to set number, which we can do set relative number, which now will show relative line numbers based on the line that you're actually on. So if we start writing, and say we're on line 5 right here, this right here will show the actual line we're on, and then this means that this is 4 lines down from the current line we're on and 4 lines up from the current line that we're on. Now another thing we can do is, if we delete all this, is we can actually also change the color of the editor. So one that I usually use is Desert, and it just nominally changes it. Right now you can't see it just because I'm not in a file such as Python or Java, which would have some syntax highlighting. But if you open a file like that, you'll see that the colors have changed. Now another thing we can do is, say we had some text, right? Before you saw me that I had to type all the text out and then I'd have to delete it, and you know, as programmers we like to strive for laziness. So one of the things we can do is we can type, so this is the coolest sentence ever, and if we escape out of insert mode, there's actually a really neat trick. So if we actually click 0, we'll actually go to the front of the line, the first character in the line, and then if we actually click DD, it completely deletes the line. Now you're probably wondering, why did it do that? Well, Vim, the creators of Vim actually thought, let's use very logical letters to symbolize what each thing does. So D means delete. Now DD completely deletes the whole line, so I think of that as like a super delete. Think of it like that. Now that's one command. Now another command is if we insert, right, and it says this is the quotes coolest thing ever. Well, what if we wanted to delete the text inside the quotes? Well, what we'd have to do is we'd have to go inside the quotes and then we delete, and then maybe we're out here and we accidentally delete the quotes. Well, what if we just wanted to delete everything in the quotes in one huge swoop? Well, another thing we can do is we can actually use the D command for delete with two other keyboard inputs. So now we can do D, which means we want to delete, and then I. Now we haven't used I yet. I, although it means insert, if you actually combine it, it actually means inside. So if we click I, that means that we want to delete inside, and if we do the quotes, we delete inside the quotes. I think this is one of the coolest things about Vim. Now if you click U, you can undo that. Now let's say we wanted to delete up until the quotes, right? So now we can do D, T, and then quote, and it will delete everything till. See, T is now till, the quotes. Now if we want to include the quote also, we can do D, F, quote, and that'll include the quotes. U to undo. Now say we undo some stuff and we want to redo it. All you have to do is control R and it'll redo what you just did. Now another thing we can do is there's actually a command. Now there's delete and then there's change. Now change deletes and then it puts you in insert mode. So say we wanted to delete and then insert inside of these quotes, we do C for change, inside with I, and then inside quotes, and it actually puts us in insert mode, and then we can type some other things inside the quotes. Now another thing we can do, which I found very handy if you copy some text over, is say we have a lot of space, right? We can use a command that we used before. We can escape, get out of insert mode, and we can do D, T, and then T. And this will actually delete till T. And you can combine any characters that you want. You can delete until anything. So if we did D, T, and then exclamation point, we'll delete everything up until the exclamation point. Very, very self-explanatory. Now, another thing we can do is we can actually jump around to the ends of words. So, oops, I didn't strive for laziness. So if I click 0 and go to the front and actually do Control E, not Control E, I'm sorry, Shift E, we'll actually go to the end of each word, like that. And if we do Shift B, we'll go back, we'll go to the front. Now, these are just some simple commands that I showed you. If we actually delete, and actually, I'm sorry, there's one more before I want to end this video. So say we actually wanted to copy and paste. Now, copy and paste would usually be Control V to paste and Control C to copy. Now, that's not the thing that we do in Vim. Actually, in Vim, there's a thing called yank. Now, Y is yank. Now, if we double-click Y, we'll actually yank the whole entire line. We'll go to the end of the line. We'll go here, and we'll click P to paste. Now, P is like Control V to paste, but P sounds like paste. And we can undo that. And then yanking. Now you can do the same thing that you did with delete and change. Now what if we want to yank just inside the quotes? So yank inside quotes. And now if we actually paste it, we have everything that was inside the quotes right here. How cool is that? That's the best part about Vim. And a lot of programs out there actually use Vim's keyboard syntax for a lot of navigation. If you actually look for them, such as IntelliJ, you can actually use Vim commands. Now, these are just simple commands. There's a lot more, but the next video will actually be setting up a Vim RC, because if we escape out of Vim right now, if we Q and then exclamation point, which means we want to quit forcibly, we don't care what happens. And if we go back into Vim, well, it doesn't save our settings, you know, for the line numbers, relative line numbers, and also for the syntax. Now, one more thing I wanted to show you was If you click colon and you do W, that's like saving. It's called writing, and you write to the file, and then Q is to quit. Now if we WQ, we can actually write and quit at the same time. And one other command is the slash command, which is actually for finding, which if we type some text really quick, this is the text, and we do slash and then we look up text, it'll actually go right to where text was. And then if you hit N, well, I don't have any other ones. If I wrote text a couple times, if I did text, and I did N, that goes to the next word that we looked for in the whole entire file. So those are some pretty basic commands. Those are some of the most helpful ones. It's a bit of a learning curve, but as of right now, these are very simple, and I think anybody that does these, once you do it for a little while, it took me about a week to really use these powerful keyboard syntax inputs to actually use Vim to its full potential. And there's a whole lot other of keyboard inputs that you can use, but those are the basic ones I wanted to show you today. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully this helped anybody that starts beginning with Vim, and I will see you guys later.